A lot of people are desperate to see polar bears, and they have an appeal to them. They're a magical animal anyway, and the idea of painting a white bear against a white background is of obvious appeal. When you get there, you find that the bears are mainly yellow and the background is a mix of different blues and yellows and whites. But a lot of people have that desire to go to find a polar bear, whilst others want to go and explore and are wanting to go to areas where the great explorers have been to. When you think of Scott or Shackleton, you're going to areas where you know you're going to find adventure and excitement. These are such exciting areas to explore in, and the habitat and the wildlife has not changed since those explorers were there. Both in the Antarctic and in the Arctic, you'll see mammals and bird life that you won't find anywhere else in the world. The seabirds have been out at sea for so long, for months and months of the year, and they come back and they've only got 4 months in which to breed. So there's a great proliferation, whether it's those lovely puffins in the north or whether you're looking at the penguins in the southern oceans. The seals are also fascinating. They're a mammal life which we can identify with very easily. They're cross with each other sometimes, and they're great characters. And whether it's the walruses up in the Arctic or those wonderful elephant seals down in the Antarctic. The Antarctic has the most incredible landscape. You feel as if you're in Noah's Ark and the rest of the world is beneath you. You feel as if you're floating on the level of the highest mountains in the world, and there's just the peaks showing. And beneath that, on the beaches, you have these small penguin colonies. And when I say small, sometimes there's thousands of penguins there. It's a very, very dramatic landscape, and it feels eerie and unpopulated and undiscovered. However, in both the Arctic and the Antarctic, there is a constant reminder of man's presence. There's ironwork on the beaches where they tied up some of the whaling boats back in the days of commercial whaling. These whaling stations have been deserted for 40-50 years now, and are gradually decaying and being allowed to just slowly dissolve. But because of the atmosphere there, the very pure atmosphere, and how dry it is, things don't rot. But you have an awareness that there were hundreds of people working down there. Same in the Arctic, you have thousands of people living on Svalbard, just working the whale fat and the oil that was needed for the Western world. Everything is very, very crisp. A mountain that is, 50 miles away might well appear as sharp and as crisp as if it were 2 miles away. So you have this difficulty of knowing your distance. So you feel as if you're probably maybe 500 yards away from that cliff face of the face of a glacier, but in fact it might be 6 miles away. The older the ice is, the bluer it is, and the sharper the blue. So you get these electric blues within the crevasses of the glaciers. And of course on the icebergs, as the icebergs break down, you have these wonderful blues. And it can be anything from sapphire through to emerald. You have this lovely range, and you have to put that range into your palette, into your paint box before you start. So you have to know that you need everything from cobalt through to sapphire. But of course, anything that's in that green-blue range in the foreground will gradually, as you go back into the distance, will go into the pinks and the purples. So mountains in the far distance will still appear purple and pink, which seems strange if you're used to the normal colour range, where everything in the distance in a landscape tends to go to the blues. You tend to meet explorer type people, adventurous type people want to go on this kind of voyage. And so inevitably, if you've chosen to go on a voyage like that, you are an explorer type yourself, and you're going to find that you find like-minded people on these voyages. On both the Antarctic and the Arctic voyages, we go out on the Zodiacs, so every probably 2, possibly 3 times a day you'll be going out on the Zodiac, a little rubber boat, you sit around the sides, you've all got your life jackets on and your safety gear on. You go out and you make a landing, and from there you can go for a walk with your guides. In the Arctic you have to have a polar bear guide with you and a gun with you to ward off any unforeseen visitors. You can't help thinking that a penguin is cute, but when you start observing them you notice all their different behaviour, and they're fascinating to watch. They bring each other stones to put put around their nests. They look after each other. The young will call to the adults. So in the king penguin colonies, which may be hundreds of thousands of penguins all in one colony, you will see a young one whistling as beautifully as a songbird, and then its parent will come up, waddling towards it, bringing it fish. As with any time when you step onto fresh snow or an area where you know very few people have ever been before, there is an anticipation to it, an excitement to it, a slight edge of danger, and all of that feeds into your paintwork, in your paintings and into your drawings. You do feel intrepid, feel very excited and very intrepid to be going to such a privileged place to be visiting.